My name is Kwabena Chencheni. Many thanks for joining us here on News Today. Let's start off with that very statement by the President. And the President, John Dramani Mahama, has emphasized the need to strengthen the economic and cultural relationship between African countries. He said this during the state visit of the Ethiopian Prime Minister, Haile Mariam Desalegn, to Ghana. President Mahama said the visit will help strengthen friendship and cooperation between Ethiopia and Ghana. He also called on all African countries to garner support for the Health Minister of Ethiopia, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, in his bid to become Director General of the World Health Organization.
This visit underscores the ever-flourishing ties of friendship and cooperation between Ethiopia and Ghana. It also signifies our shared determination to transform our long-standing ties into concrete, meaningful, and mutually beneficial cooperation, not just between our respective governments in the area of African and multilateral cooperation, but more especially in the lives of our people through increased economic, social, and cultural engagement. Ethiopia's brave resistance and legendary defeat of the invading forces, both in the battles of Adwa in 1896 and against Mussolini's forces in 1936, are feats that shattered the aura of invincibility of foreign invaders and those who wished to colonize us. Your Excellency, Ethiopia's outstanding victories greatly inspired those who were at the forefront of the struggle against colonialism and apartheid, including our own Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Ghana also shared a close friendship with Emperor Haile Selassie in the struggle to liberate and unify the continent. True to Ethiopia's commitment to the Pan-African vision and world peace, the country continues to play a leading role in brokering peace, not only in the Horn of Africa, but throughout the continent. Today, Ethiopia ranks as a major peacekeeping nation, contributing troops to keep the peace around the world. It is for this reason that Ghana fully supports Ethiopia's bid for non-permanent membership of the UN Security Council. Ethiopia's sustained double-digit economic growth and rapid transformation demonstrates how far visionary leadership can go when supported by united, disciplined, and determined people. We shall keenly follow your progress as you implement the second phase of the Growth and Transformation Plan, which is designed to lead Ethiopia into middle-income status by the year 2025.
On his part, the Ethiopian Prime Minister, Dr. Desalegn, asked for political support in solving the numerous problems the continent faces.
Ghana has consistently been one of the principal advocates in favor of greater political and economic integration in Africa. We look upon Ghana's immense contribution to the well-being of our continent with fraternal pride and gratitude. Africa still faces a number of problems, deep-rooted for poverty, drought, instability, the threat of terrorism, dangers of religious extremism, climate change, and deadly diseases like Ebola, HIV/AIDS are on the list of problems that are affecting millions of lives in Africa. The pictures are not, of course, all gloomy. With the dawn of this 21st century, Africa, for the first time in its modern history, is registering unprecedented economic growth.
Mr. Desalegn arrived yesterday in the country together with his wife Roman Tesfaye for a 3-day state visit. This is the second visit to Ghana by an Ethiopian leader since the visit of Emperor Haile Selassie in December 1960. We can now turn our attention to some other stories, particularly relating to some chieftaincy disputes. And the chief of Bru Navio community under Paga in Kasna Nankana West District of the Upper East region is currently in police protection after escaping an attack on him at his palace yesterday. The attack was a result of a long-standing chieftaincy dispute in the area. The Bru Navio chief, P. Adams Kwarase II, accuses the paramount chief of Paga of masterminding his attack. Now, he also alleges that despite reporting previous attempts on his life to police, nothing was done about it. Let's get more on this. And the chief of Chief Navio Pio Tay Adams Kwarase II joins me now over the telephone lines now with some more on this very issue. So many thanks for joining us, sir. Now, the first question I want to ask is whether or not you are safe as we speak to you. Hello, sir.
Hello?
Yes, I was asking, how safe are you as we speak currently?
As of now, I'm with the Navrongo police people.
Okay, so you have made some allegations against the paramount chief of Paga. I'm wondering, can you substantiate these allegations you make?
Indeed, it's not allegation. Yesterday was my fifth attack. They attacked me in the regional house of chiefs, destroyed my cars. They attacked me in the high court in Bolga. His own son has attacked me the day before yesterday. I heard that they are mumbling some people to come and attack me. I went to the regional commander and laid my complaint. Yesterday in the afternoon before they came, I heard that they are coming. I called the district commander. This is what is happening. So, before I realized my house was full with them, full, well-armed, firing warning shots here and there. So, I ran and I met a good Samaritan with motorbike.
So I do understand what you're saying, and indeed you do mention that there have been a series of events that give you reason to believe that indeed it is this same person who is behind these attacks. But aside your suspicions, is there any other evidence to buttress your claim? Did you, for instance, even see him?
Yeah, because in the High Court he was there. He even yesterday, the boys, they even mentioned his name. They sent him, they sent them, then they are going to finish me. Yesterday they mentioned his name in front of my house. So they burned half of my house. And then destroy my car, and currently I'm with the police, and then I don't know where my family are.
Okay, right. So do you know for how long you might have to stay with the police until...
yesterday they did some arresting, and then investigation is still going on.
Right, we'll be getting some updates on that from the DC as well as the police. But for now, I'm asking whether or not you have any idea when you might be returning to your palace.
For now, I'm even asking, I heard that there's a security man, a lot of them in my house. They are now applying for personal security because my life is at risk.
Right. Navio Pio, many thanks for your time on news today. And that was the Chief Navio Pio, Tay Adams Kwarase II, who joined me on phone a short while ago, narrating the incident to us. But we do understand that there's been a DISEC meeting on this very issue. Let's try and get an update on that from the District Chief Executive of the area, George Nontra, who is also joining the conversation right now. Honorable, good afternoon. Many thanks for your time. Can you tell us the very latest on this incident and what really came out of this DISEC meeting?
Good afternoon, and afternoon to your cherished listeners. In fact, it was around 3 o'clock when I was in a community, one of my communities, meeting some people, that I had a distress call, and I had to leave quickly, and got to Paga, where I was told that some people had gone to Navio Pio's house to attack them. But so I quickly called for a DISEC meeting, and we met and discussed what was happening. I was briefed by the police commander as to what happened.
Yes, okay.
And I can confirm that according to the police officer and in fact the fire service commander too, 2 rooms in the Ethiopian's house were burnt. But they were able to put out the fire so that it couldn't spread further. I was also informed that some Toyota around 4 was also burnt. But it wasn't even near Navigator's house. It was just on the road leading to that place, a little distance.
Okay, so you have given us a background to this issue, like we heard earlier from the chief. Now, what I want to find out from you has to do with, for instance, the security of his family. When we spoke to the chief a while ago, he mentioned to us that he does not even know the whereabouts of his family. Do we know whether or not they are safe?
I want to believe they are safe because we quickly mobilized and people were in Ethiopian's house. The security people were there. And we have some other security personnel patrolling the whole between Navio and Pala. So I want to believe that they are safe, and we haven't heard of any other thing yet. I've also been reliably informed that those people were arrested, and they have been already in court.
Right.
So, for now, this is what I know about the situation.
Okay. These measures you speak of, measures that have been put in place to ensure that his family is protected and indeed the calm returns to the area. These measures, how sure are you that they are going to really live up to expectation? Because the chief tells us that this is not the first time this incident is happening. He says, in fact, he recounts a number of similar incidents that have happened to him. And indeed, he says he has reported to the police, and over the period, not much has been done about it. So really, how sure are we these measures you speak of are enough?
Well, this time it's not only the police that are involved. We have the military people there. We have the fire service people there. We have the DNI. In fact, almost all the security agencies in my district are involved. So this time, but what he's saying about attacks, I'm not aware of them. If that is true, I can't say. I don't know whether I can confirm whether what he said is true or not.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Many thanks for your time, sir. And indeed, that was the District Chief Executive for Paga, George Nontra, who joined us over the phone lines with an update on that particular dissect meeting that was called earlier today following the violence and the attack on the chief of the area. He tells us that, well, indeed, he has reason to believe that the family of the chief is safe, and a lot more measures have been put in place to ensure that the situation does not recur. We'll be bringing a lot more on this on The Pulse. That's a news analysis program which airs at 3 p.m. on this very same channel. Let's stay in the upper belt of the country, and this time around to Tamale, where we are told that the management of the Tamale Teaching Hospital say they will go ahead with a decision to outsource laboratory services of the hospital despite opposition by some patients and staff. Now, there are fears lab service charges could increase if the facility is managed by a private entity. Laboratory staff of the hospital have given management a 72-hour ultimatum to reverse the decision or face their wrath. But the hospital is already inviting bids from companies to manage the laboratories. The PRO for the Tamale Teaching Hospital, Mohammed Misbah, joins me now over the phone lines now with a lot more on this. So, many thanks for joining us, sir. You seem to be ignoring the many contents of these lab staff. Why so?
Thank you very much. We are not adamant, and we don't intend to be adamant. We started the process long before now. So where we have gotten to is not something that we slept yesterday and woke up today and decided that this is what we're going to do. And whether the people are resisting it or not, they are going ahead with it. That is not the case at all.
One would ask why the need or the urgency to outsource the lab services at this particular time?
Thank you very much. It is not an urgent thing. Nobody is rushing the process through. there's a process and a procedure that we need to follow, and we are following the processes. We started with an advert, giving some timelines for people to tender in their bids, and we had a closing date to that. This was made in the open. This was done in the open. It wasn't shrouded in secrecy. And for that reason, nobody has said that the outsourcing is going to take place tomorrow or tomorrow next. It's a process that we need to follow and exhaust the entire process before such outsourcing could be said to have taken place.
Again, I'd like to ask whether or not you've considered the consequences of making the service non-affordable for the poor. I mean, this is one of the concerns being raised by these lab assistants and indeed residents of the town, that there's the fear that it might make access to this facility a lot more difficult. For the poor, they may find it a lot more difficult accessing this particular facility and care. Are there any special arrangements being made?
Thank you very much once again. Yes, because there's going to be a contractual agreement that will be signed between the Tamale Teaching Hospital and the company which would be winning the bid eventually. And as part of the arrangement that we have, NHIS card-bearing members will still access services that are covered under the NHIS within the Tamale Teaching Hospital. But there are services already which are not being covered under the National Health Insurance Scheme, which patients are made to pay for even as of now. And those services will continue to be paid for because they are not covered under the National Health Insurance.
Finally, before you go, sir, I want to find out from you again. You are working with lab staff, and these lab staff have raised concerns about this move the Tamale Teaching Hospital is considering. Should you bully your way through, what is to happen? You still have to work with them anyway. Is this not going to in any way affect the morale of the staff and probably even get them to sabotage their system?
Thank you very much. Like I said, the Labor Act empowers the employer, in fact, with the right to modify, change, or cease operations of any of the services that an employer runs. In fact, we much appreciate the agitations coming from the lab staff.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is that we will not close our eyes on their agitations.
Okay.
We would go further to engage them. At the end of the day, we expect an amicable resolution to the problem.
Okay. Many thanks for your time on News Today this afternoon. And Mohammed Misbah is the Public Relations Officer of the Tamale Teaching Hospital. He's been sharing a lot more information on that issue there ongoing at the hospital. Let's stay with some other security issues now. And the police service is warning motorists who ply the Graphic Road, George Walker Bush Highway and other key roads in the capital to be cautious of criminals. In a statement, the police also mentioned areas such as the Accra Mall Roundabout, Awudome Cemetery Road, Pokwase Amasaman Road, and the La Beach on the Teshinongwa Road as some of the hot spots for criminal activities. According to the police, the caution is based on empirical analysis of street crime trends within the region where some miscreants deprive commuters of handy items and personal valuables such as mobile phones, tablets, handbags, and laptops at the least distraction or inattentiveness. Let's get a reaction to this very story from the Bureau of Public Safety. Executive Director of the Bureau, Nanaya Akwada, is joining me now on phone with that very one. So, Mr. Akwada, many thanks for joining us. Now, the question for many is whether or not the issuance of an alert is really enough.
Yeah, very good afternoon to your viewers.
Right.
I want to commend the IGP for this initiative. As to whether it is enough, I think that at least we get the assurance that the police are on the ground. They understand the security and safety, rhythm on the floor. Moving forward, we have said that it's not just enough to alert the public and to, as it were, put that information out there, because then you are also alerting criminals where you may, in the short to medium term, you may succeed in getting these criminals, taken aback. But in the long term, if you do not put in place cogent measures, fiscal measures to ensure that perpetrators of crime on the streets and in street corners are brought to book, they can only move from place to place. And I think that it is even more refreshing that the IGP, under his command, of course, the police high command, have thought it wise to engage in this kind of zoning and alerting the public, because the United States Department of State Overseas Security Advisory Council actually have placed security and safety in Ghana on a critical high. Whereas in 2015, the Ghana Police Service was reporting that the incidence of crime has declined. The Overseas Safety Advisory Council of the United States Department of State is actually saying that the crime in Ghana has gone high. So, and some of the references that the OSAC, if you like, the Security Council, made to arrive at that conclusion was such crime as has been captured in the police statement.
Right.
So I think it is very refreshing.
So clearly a move in the right direction from where you sit. But again, some are asking, in fact, let me find out from you, how you would assess the job of the police as far as public safety is concerned. I'm speaking of over the past few weeks or months. How would you assess it?
Well, I think generally the Ghanaian society is a very calm one, and so the police do not have a very tough job. And to that extent, it's very difficult to assess the police overall, because I want to take it case by case.
Okay.
Because of one, the general calmness of the Ghanaian nature, and the occasional, flashpoint issues that we've been getting. It will be very difficult to assess the police in an overall fashion.
Okay. Many thanks for your time on News Today this afternoon. Nanaya Akwada is the Executive Director of the Bureau of National Safety right here in Ghana. We are taking a break here on News Today. We'll return shortly with a lot more stories. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying here on News Today. To some more stories now. And the Ghana National Association of Teachers is accusing the Finance Ministry of deliberately delaying the processes for members to be paid their arrears. There's an ongoing validation of the documents of teachers to facilitate the payment. But NAT says the Finance Ministry has failed to release the funds the team members need to consider all the about 29,000 documents they have received. Reports suggest the validation team may suspend its work again by the end of this week because there's no money. This will be the second suspension since the team started its work. Head of compensation at NAT, Ahinakwa Kwashi, who blames the Finance Ministry for the challenges, is joining me now over the telephone lines with a lot more. So, sir, many thanks for your time. But the first thing I would like to ask is, why would you say the Finance Ministry is delaying the process?
Yeah, I am saying the Finance Ministry is delaying the process because they are having a difficulty in the release of funds to enable us work continuously. And that one is not good for all of us.
And how much of a worry is this continuous suspension of the work by the validation team? How much of a worry is it particularly to you and your members?
Yeah, it's a big issue because most of our people are calling us finding out whether they have been validated, and if they have not been validated, when are they going to validate them and that kind of thing. And it's a source of worry to us. Already we have had one break, and then we are told that we are going to break again. Indeed, as on Wednesday, out of the 29,000 documents that are in data for which audit service is validating, only 18,893 or so have been done. And so it means we are left close to about 10,000 or 10,000 plus. And they say by Sunday we are breaking. So which means that we may not even be able to complete the 29,000. Meanwhile, there are a lot of the data, a lot of the documents that are not in data that Ghana Education Service submitted to audit. That one they have not touched. And then when the crisis also came up, a lot of the regions and the districts send down documents that were not even in data at all. So GS had to ask some clerks to come to the site to do the key-in of those data. That one also we have not worked on them. And then they say we are breaking. And we see this as a deliberate attempt to frustrate the payment of these arrests to the people who are due for those payments.
The government has shown its resolve or its commitment to seeing through this very exercise to ensure that your members get what they are due. For you to suggest that they are deliberately sabotaging the system, one would say is a bit unfair, because again, we have heard from some elements within government not too long ago that the process has not stalled in any way. So why then such an accusation?
I'm not saying the process has stopped. What I'm saying is that they are saying that we are going to break on Sunday.
Okay.
That is the message at the center now. So if government has shown commitment, why are we breaking again when the exercise is incomplete?
I see. So essentially, what do you want done now?
What I want us to do is that government should release enough funds for the exercise to continue. So we finish with it.
Right. Mr. Hinakwa, many thanks for your time on News Today this afternoon. And Hinakwa Kwashi is the head of compensation at the Ghana National Association of Teachers. They seem to have a bit of a challenge with the validation of their members there. And we are told that the exercise is likely to be put on hold for a second time in as many weeks because of a lack of funds. We are keeping our eyes on this very development, and we'll be bringing you a lot more in the coming days. Let's turn our attention to some politics. And political scientist Dr. Edward Bernya is warning of dire consequences for the 2016 elections if the Electoral Commission fails to appoint the right people to handle its communications. Commenting on a reshuffle in the commission that has rendered the PR positions vacant, Dr. Bernya said it is important for the EC to make the right appointments in order to prevent a possible chaos due to miscommunication. Dr. Bernya was speaking to me earlier on News Desk.
I think it can do a lot, depending upon who takes on the mantle of the PR. As you said, there's been a lot of proposals against the Electoral Commission. The mode of communication to the public has not been at its best. The face of the PR has been one that Ghanaians know, one that Ghanaians, for many of the civil society and citizens of the Electoral Commission, these are individuals that are considered as not the people that they want to hear. Bringing a new face brings in a new dialogue. Bringing a new face projects a new image. And I believe that if only the Electoral Commission can get in a new face to the PR department, who might want to communicate differently from those that were there, it will change a whole lot of things. The trust, the faith that can exist in the Electoral Commission was hard to develop, and maybe with the communication style of whoever takes on the PR position, the Electoral Commission would be able to communicate differently to the electorate, such that the electorate will begin to understand the Electoral Commission and change the image that has been painted about the Electoral Commission for the last 6 months or a year now.
Pro-opposition pressure group Let My Vote Count Alliance meanwhile believes a reshuffle of some persons in the Electoral Commission is a mere camouflage of the real issues affecting the EC. Speaking also on News Desk, convener for the group, David Asante, accused the executive of manipulating the Electoral Commission, adding that unless the EC is able to win itself off the manipulation, questions about its fairness will persist.
No, on authority. There are issues at the commission. There are bigger issues yet to come out regarding control and command at the Electoral Commission of Ghana. Reassigning Christian Owusu-Parry and then reassigning Madame Sylvia Ano, both of the PR department, I do not think is a solution to really the tainted image and reputation of the Electoral Commission. What will solve the image of the Electoral Commission, which is gradually being tainted, is the Commission to really exhibit its absolute independence and open-mindedness to take its own fair and firm decisions without executive manipulation of the Commission. That is where the problem is. Mr. Christian Owusu-Pare, on a number of instances, has churned out issues that turned out to be palpable falsehoods. He has been sent to carry out a number of information on behalf of the Electoral Commission, which later on turned out to be pure lies.
And which specific issue are you referring to here?
Well, we know the dangerous, politically biased, NDC-dominated committee put together was principally communicated out to us first of all by the chairperson of the commission herself. The neutrality and independence of the committee was first broken to us by the commissioner herself. Commissioner. Later on, the subsequent communiques were issued and signed by Mr. Christian Owusu-Pare. And the fact that Christian Council was officially written to, which turned out to be lies, all these blatant falsehoods were openly and courageously carried out and defended on behalf of the Commission by Mr. Christian Owusu-Pare. But the point is, after using him to execute all these ungodly mandates, and you want to reassign him, we don't have any problem. That is their internal mechanism. But we know, on authority, there is a seeming serious problem of executive manipulation of the Electoral Commission.
Stay with us here on News Today because we still have business, sports, entertainment, as well as international updates all coming up after these messages. Stay on. And now time to do some business, and starting from some finance stories. Government will this month be raising almost 5 billion Ghana cedis from investors and commercial banks in the country. This will be through the issuance of bonds and treasury bills. But could this end up increasing the public debt and also make it difficult for private businesses to secure credit at good rates from banks? George Jaffe has more.
The 5 billion Ghana cedis that government will be mobilizing is part of the over 50 billion cedis that will be raising this year alone through the issuance of bonds and treasury bills. The disclosure, which was contained in the Ministry of Finance's issuance calendar for the month of April, also indicates that government is planning to sell another 3-year bond this month to raise 500 million Ghana cedis, which will be led by some private banks. For some analysts, they are worried the development could end up increasing the public debt, which has hit about 97 billion Ghana cedis as at December last year. There are also fears that with the increasing appetite for borrowing through the commercial banks, most financial institutions will be prepared to lend to government rather than private businesses. But government, on the other hand, has maintained that majority of these funds will be used to pay off debts that are maturing, with the remaining being used to finance infrastructure projects outlined in the budget.
Meanwhile, government is to establish a clear date for the $1 billion Eurobond issue after the ongoing non-deal roadshow. Sources say government has received a positive response from investors in Europe, and development expected to convince government to issue the Eurobond soon. There could be a ray of hope for smallholder farmers and communities that lose out in the sale of their parcels of land. A civil society group, COLANDEF, in collaboration with the Lands Commission and other governmental agencies, has in this regard launched a 1-year project to reverse this trend, dubbed the Responsible Investment in Property and Land Projects, expected to generate guidelines for responsible land-based agricultural investment. Nana Mayura is Executive Director of COLANDEF.
The level of accidents in the port has drastically reduced. One, because elimination is now very, very high. Two, because we now have a number of, most of the staff also well trained. And also the most important thing that we have removed as much as possible the trucks that are used to clock inside the port, because the accidents were caused by several trucks inside the port, and therefore making it difficult for terminal operators, to be able to maneuver around. and I think that has drastically, completely, because a lot of the trucks are now outside. We've started operation of the reefer terminal, so all the reefer containers are now out, which means that any activity that we send out goes with the trucks. So it means we no longer have trucks coming inside the port to take reefer containers. They all go outside. We're working towards sending all transit cargo that have to be divined also outside the port. That will similarly take that traffic out. So when you come to the port now, there's a lot of decency as far as space is concerned.
So that will be it for business this afternoon. And for more, you can join me between 1 and 1:30 on the marketplace. We'll be looking basically at the implications of the shutdown of the FPSO on energy and power generation here in Ghana. My name is John Kojo Amwako. Please stay for sports.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the entertainment segment on Joy News today. And there's always been an impression that at least in many circles, women only become successful after they give themselves to their bosses. And mostly in the creative art industry, many have been accused of such art. But has anyone ever paused to wonder how they feel about this assertion?
I've had experiences where women were giving the man, what I say. I have friends who, I've seen people who have been, some guys who have been taken care of by their women. So, I believe in this modern world, anything is possible. Woman can take care of a man, and vice versa. Yeah.
I feel that perception only exists around us Africans. I don't know, but I feel that out there, you go out with a lady and the lady is also dipping out into her purse to also pay her part. You understand what I'm saying? But that doesn't happen around here. That's the reason why we men of Africa attribute luxurious life led by ladies as in something which another man is responsible for. You understand? But for me, I feel a lady can be responsible for her luxury.
That's a misconception. I'm not doing too badly, but I can't say that any man is helping me do what I do. There are women who are achievers, who can do anything a man can do. How do they know it's not even that woman supporting the man?
And those were some responses from some industry players. But let's move on to other stories. And Star Tourist and TV host Kweku Sintim Mesa, popularly known as KSM, has indicated that there is crisis in the Ghanaian theatre, bemoaning the lack of appreciation for quality theatre production as the reason. KSM, who was speaking on Cosmopolitan Mix on Joy FM with Doreen Ando, says Ghanaians now only appreciate humorous production, and that is badly affecting the plans of stage plays.
The problem with our general, not just movie scene, but even the stage, I don't know whether it's the crisis in Ghana. I don't know what is happening, but people really do not appreciate good drama unless they have to laugh. If you're not going to make them laugh at anything, then don't worry. It's almost like we have a psyche that once it's called theater, it must be funny.
Yes.
So I think that's the challenge I'm facing. But I like how Ebohwai does it, because Ebohwai does the deep stuff.
Amazing guy.
But he will inject it with a humor.
Yeah.
You have exactly.
All right, that's it for entertainment. There's more entertainment on Let's Talk Entertainment at 4:45, and also entertainment on the Prime News with me, Ms. G. Have a good afternoon.
And that's how we wrap up on the news this afternoon here on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. My name is Kwabena Chenche Hineboati. Remember to visit myjoyonline.com for a lot more news. Do stay with this very same channel because we'll bring you joint caucus this evening at 6 p.m. on the Joy News channel here on Multi TV. Many thanks for your time. Have a great weekend.